Terrorists are in Nigeria, West African coastline, US. Good day to you, my dear listeners, from wherever you listen from. Here is an important news I bring to your listening ears that says that terrorists are in Nigeria, West African coastline, US speaks. Moving on to the full details, kindly please ensure you like, subscribe to this channel and share. The Commander of United States America Africa Command, General Michael Langley, has raised the alarm over growing efforts by extremist groups and terrorists in the Sahel to gain access to West Africa's coastline. Describing recent attacks in Nigeria, the wider Sahel and the Lake Chad Basin as deeply troubling. Langley warned that terrorist access to the coast would significantly boost their capacity for smuggling and arms trafficking. The Sahel countries of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger is widely regarded as the epicenter of terrorist activity, with insurgent networks linked to ISIS and Al-Qaeda particularly entrenched in Burkina Faso. According to the 2025 Global Terrorism Index, published by the Institute of Economics and Peace, the Sahel accounted for 19% of all terrorist attacks worldwide and 51% of global terrorism-related deaths in 2024, up from 48% in 2023. 5 of the 10 countries most affected by terrorism are in the Sahel. Langley, who spoke during a press conference at the weekend, said the US was increasingly concerned that a coastal incursion would not only endanger African nations, but also raise the threat level to American interests. Attacks are resurging in the Lake Chad region as well, and extremist groups are growing more aggressive. The recent attacks in Nigeria and across the Sahel are deeply concerning. The scale and brutality of some of those incidents are troubling, so we are monitoring this closely. One of the terrorists' now objectives is gaining access to West African coast. If they secure access to the coastline, they can finance their operations through smuggling, human trafficking, and arms trading. This puts not just African nations at risk, but also increases the chance of threat reaching the US shores, Langley stated. He stated this while addressing journalists at the African Chiefs of Defense Conference held in Nairobi, Kenya from May 28 to 29, 2025. The event brought together senior military leaders from 37 African nations alongside US defense officials. Langley urged frontline coastal states such as Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire and Benin to hold firm along their northern borders to prevent terrorist infiltration. He noted that the US stood in support of its coastal partners, saying that is why our coastal partners, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire and Benin, are fighting fiercely along their northern borders to prevent terrorist expansion, and US AFRICOM is standing with them. Langley acknowledged that the partial withdrawal of US forces from part of Africa had constrained America's ability to monitor and respond to terrorist activity as closely as before. He, however, emphasized US continued commitment to counter-terrorism partnerships while respecting national sovereignty. We respect nation sovereignty and only go where we are asked as long as it aligns with US national security objectives, he said. Langley recalled his visit to Nigeria in November 2024, noting that it provided a first-hand view of how the US supported Nigerian defense efforts. During my visit, I sat with Nigerian defense leaders to understand how we can help. The US acts with its partners, and in Nigerian's case, we work together to combat Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa in pursuit of regional security, he said. We are committed to supporting one of the most capable militaries in the region, Nigeria's. Although our withdrawal has reduced our ability to monitor some development directly, we maintain strong liaison and provide support where possible, he added. Langley also spoke on U.S. efforts to foster dialogue with Burkina Faso despite strained ties. The U.S. seeks opportunities to collaborate with Burkina Faso on counter-terrorism challenges. I invited Burkina Faso's Chief of Defense to the African Chiefs of Defense Conference because I believe in maintaining that dialogue, so it is still open, he said. On East Africa, he noted that AFRICOM had stepped up operation in Somalia. At the request of the Somali government, we have conducted over 25 airstrikes. This year alone, twice as many as last year, targeting jihadist group, Langley reviewed. Despite the challenges, Langley expressed satisfaction that African militaries were confronting their security issues without waiting for external intervention. My dear listeners, now we've come to the end of our today's news. Please do drop out the comment section and let us know what your view is all about. Thank you for listening.